Good morning. I'm up. The roosters are up. It's all good. Good morning, good morning, good morning. On this, I don't even know what day of the goddamn month it is. 5th or 6th? Who cares? I'm up. Now, here's the thing. I haven't been ragging on Nico for a while, although I've had a lot of good reason. But unfortunately, got to read a few comments from Nico on the replay channel. Remember, this is the only My Philippines interest. Others have tried and copied, but to no avail. This is the original My Philippines interest. Thank you very much. Nico, Nico, Nico. Okay. I really didn't want to get into this, but Nico, you started it. Don't get me going, but I guess you're going to get me going this morning. Of all the money you spend on fertilizing your grass and never having any success with your grass whatsoever, she's looking good. Besides your romantic fantasies with a blade of grass because you just can't find a real woman that you could use the terminology she, you have to refer to your grass. I don't know. I'm no psychology major, don't pretend to be, but that's pretty sick. But let's kind of dive into this. All the money you spend on your sick grass, which you've never been able to maintain, what I don't understand, and I must just emphasize this, is that why you can't spend any money on fixing that gnarly teeth of yours. Surely you have the money for buying fertilizer for your grass. But you can't seem to, it kind of baffles me, really. I mean, it truly does. It's not like this is rank out Nico time. It's just for real. And one of the criteria is that he can spend money on his grass and never get successful at it. Hey, I had great grass in Hawaii. I could make weeds look like quality grass. Seriously. I've always had a good lawn. It wasn't a big area, but I maintained it. Now, this is what baffles me. You got a couple of bucks to pay for your fertilizer, feeding your grass, besides the money you have to spend on some highly caloric, high cholesterol, fatty, unhealthy foods. Being overweight as you already are, that's another deal. We'll get into that. But your teeth. I've shown a close-up of your teeth, pal. Gnarly. I mean, it's just scraggly, straggly, crooked, just in really poor shape. Now, this is the thing that baffles me. Why you can't go to a dentist? Okay, you got VA, right? This is what I don't understand. You could probably get all this shit done. Probably at a, probably would cover it. And even if, VA didn't, surely, if you have the money to buy fertilizer for your grass, then surely you must have the money to fix your teeth. No, seriously. You got some pretty horrible looking teeth, Nico. They truly are. That might be another standoff point for women for you. Could be. Now, I don't want to make fun, because that's not right, to make fun to judge your face blown up. And you can't even smile. That's a horrible incident. So we're not going to overplay that. I mean, that might have something to do with it too, but it was, not your fault. But it happened. You done got blown up. That didn't help. But if you can't fix your face, and you can't repair the nerve damage, why can't you just take care of your teeth? That's something that you actually can do. No, there's no rebuttal to this. There's absolutely none. Because there's really no excuse. You have some pretty horrible teeth. I displayed it one time. And I put up some photographs, close up. While you're sitting there, going on copycat channels and so forth and other shows, knocking me all the time, keep in mind, take a look in the fucking mirror. I didn't get my fucking face blown up. And my teeth are capped, and they're good. And despite, of course, the edited photographs that people like to put on of my so-called teeth, my teeth are fine. But you're in a position which I think, again, is very baffling. Your teeth. Now, you can't do nothing about your face. That's a done deal. Can't do anything about the nerves in your face. That's a horrible thing that happened to you, man. I feel for you. I really do. Honestly. It wasn't your fault. But it happened, right? It happened. All right, so that disfigurement situation you have to deal with. But your teeth? Come on, man. Seriously? Teeth are easily taken care of. Surely you got the money. I mean, you're not exactly spending it on a woman. It's not like your expenses are being, parlayed out to dating women, buying them dinners and so forth and so on. But your teeth, they're horrible. Stop pointing fingers all the time. Frank this, Frank that, Frank this, Frank that. But take a look at yourself. So take a look at yourself. You're just an empty shell. All right, I'll refrain from the singing. But forget about your blades of grass. Maybe if you actually just left the grass alone and just mowed it, you give it a fighting chance. I don't think you have a clue what you're doing with the grass. Although I do. I know the nutrients that grass needs, but sometimes there's something called overkill. Just to give you some knowledge. They'll need a certain amount of nitrogen, this and that and this and that. Okay, but what you've been doing this whole time has been total overkill for your grass. And we know how much you take pride in your grass. Well, you got to take pride in something. You don't take pride in taking care of yourself, that's for sure. You're still overweight, much overweight. Okay. I see the shitty foods that you make and consume, mass consumption, wrong choices, always high in saturated fats, high in cholesterol, highly caloric. Well, if you can't take care of that problem, and you're not going to change in that way, for appearance sake, even Frankenstein went through some transformations, I think. I don't know. not trying to be mean here, Nico. I'm really not. But, you gave me poetic license to talk about you. Because you've been talking about me and always saying some really nasty things about me. Of course, behind your camera, trying to impress Daddy Popeye. But your teeth are really fucked up, dude. I don't get it. You got VA, you got the money to spend hundreds of dollars on your lawn in which you keep on killing it. I don't know. Your water bill must be tremendous. You go to Home Depot, wherever you go, and buying all this chemicals for your lawn. But if you just would have saved that money, and don't even need to, because I think the VA could take care of that. If not fully, at reduced cost, I'm sure, to take care of those teeth. That would help. It wouldn't be your whole cure-all, of course. The damage is already done. It's done. You don't have anything to talk about me. I didn't get my goddamn face blown up, okay? Not fault of your own, but you did. You got your fucking face blown up, you got nerve damage, you can't even smile. And you got the shittiest looking fucking teeth I've seen ever since Barry Jordan. So why can't you put the money toward that? Now, I didn't get up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, but I happened to read your comments on the last copycat channel. And it's not just a copy, it's not the first time. Dude, I might be older than you, but I think I take care of myself a hell of a lot better than you do. Spend some money on some vitamin supplements. Choose a better diet. Go to the goddamn dentist. Jesus Christ, if I felt really generous, I'd help you out on that teeth situation. If it's really the money. But I don't think it's the money. Because you're not supporting any wife or girlfriend or nothing like that. So, the money you're living on your VA pension, that should be adequate. You own your home, right? I don't think you have a mortgage, right? Or, well, actually, it's your mom's home. I understand that. But still, you got to pay electric. You got to pay the bills. And you got to do maintenance on the house. You got to keep that house in good shape for mommy. But, geez, take care of your teeth. I don't think there's any excuse for that. You could try to make excuses, but is he afraid to get your mouth worked on? It might hurt you, or you don't like the process. Shit, you had your face fucking blown off. It would not be a big deal to go to a dentist, orthodontist or something, and have your teeth fixed. How hard is that? Yeah, I know it's going to maybe cost you a little money out of your pocket if the VA's not covering it for some reason, but I think the VA would help you out a little bit on that. Or you could go to the high roaders and they got plenty of money. Well, they financed some of your trips, didn't they, to the Philippines, didn't they? Surely, on a humanitarian effort, they should be willing to help you out with your teeth. And I don't want to hear about all this bullshit about the ferry. You had a, beef with me. There's a lot of things you could have done that you didn't do. So I don't want to hear about how tough you are. Please, spare me. Spare me. You didn't have to come up to me and shake my hand either. Fully knowing that you've been jumping and downing my ass for years. Yet you come on the boat and you extend your hand to me to shake. which I followed through. But since you've been downing me for years, why didn't you do something different on that ferry? Why didn't you grab me by the fucking neck or something? Why didn't you do something? But no, you didn't. You could have. You say you're, what, stronger than me, and I'm just an old, frail man, right? Why didn't you take care of this old, frail man when I was on the ferry? Good question. Why didn't you do that? Or why didn't you give me some harsh words or something, saying, hey, motherfucker, I could throw you over the fucking edge of this boat and throw you in the fucking ocean, you motherfucker. Why didn't you do that? Because you wouldn't. Well, there you go. Touche. Touche, Nico. You want to talk about me? Talk reality. Don't make up a bunch of shit about me to try to impress Daddy Robert, or anybody else, or the high roaders. I have never, ever, other than this one girl, Marie, or Maria, I've never seen you other than a planned, choreographed photo when you were out with Big E at some point, have you sit down with 3 women at a table at a bar. Planned, choreographed. That's when Big E was trying to protect your image. Remember that? As if to say that Nico never gets girlfriends, and having this choreographed photo of you sitting at a table with 3 women seemingly interested in you. Other than that, other than Maria, who was your pal, basically, because you weren't boning her. You made a lot of jokes about it. You weren't boning her. You weren't tagging her ass. Hell no. Because she wouldn't. And even when you had her on your show once, well, actually on a live show, she was on, and you were trying to get her to say things about me. And I got to give Maria credit. I got to give her credit. She didn't give in to your little tactics. She kind of refrained from it. I got to give her credit. She had more class, taste, class, and dignity to have to follow through. I remember when there was a live stream going on, and you had Maria try to get her sounding off on there, and trying to get her to say a lot of things that she didn't want to say about me. I got to give her credit. Good girl. She's a good girl. She's a good girl. She liked Gilda. And there's really nothing you can say about Gilda, by the way. You only wish you'd get a woman like Gilda. You only wish you'd get any fucking woman. So take care of your grass. Stay out of trouble. Impress your neighbors with your dead grass. Save your money from all the expenses you put out, hundreds and hundreds of dollars on your lawn. And you call your lawn she. Actually, everything with you is she. She's doing well. It could be that piece of wood you're varnishing. She's going to look good. The grass then. She's looking good today. I don't know. What would Freud say about this? Let's see. You can't get any woman. You make references to everything being she, because you can't have a real she in your life. Isn't that what it really is? Pathetic. So don't talk about me, Nico. There's nothing to talk about. I'm living a stable life, a great relationship, which you can't get. I think I'm in better shape physiologically than you are. I'm not obese, overweight. You're probably on diabetic pills. I wouldn't be surprised. And your teeth suck. I'm just making a pointer here. You can't take care of your teeth? And if you did get a woman, seriously, most women don't want to kiss a guy who has gnarly teeth like that. I mean, look at Bummer. the remaining couple of teeth he has in his mouth, all black and rotting and disgusting. Who would want to kiss the mouth of that? We're not going to name any names. But apparently there is somebody that's willing to kiss that kind of mouth. How would any woman want to do that? Trolls can edit any time they want, in any way they want, but they're not going to change what I look like. And my teeth are all crowned. So there's nothing wrong with my teeth. That I could say. But what is your excuse, is my question. There ain't none. Take care of those gnarly looking teeth you got there, man. That could be a good starting point. You can't change everything else about you, your obesity, and the unfortunate thing that happened to you on that accident. Very unfortunate incident, I might say. But didn't the people know there were minefields around there? What about the intelligence unit? I mean, they don't scope out an area before they get mobile and just lollygag down that road. I always thought the armed services were ahead of that kind of stuff. They would know this kind of stuff. But hey. It happened. Can't change that. I'm sorry for you for that. I really am. But, life has a lot of strange turns to it, doesn't it? Like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get. So before you start pointing your finger at me, Frank this and Frank that and Frank this and Frank that, consider looking at yourself very carefully and examine all your faults, because you have a lot of faults, dude. It's not really my job to point out all your faults, but then again, it's not your job either to point out what you say are my faults. The difference is, my pointers are real. You could look at it, you could see it, your teeth, your blown up fucking face, inability to smile. Not your fault, not your fault. Mind you, I'll keep on saying it, not your fault. But it happened. And I don't want to have to get deep down and dirty, but since you are, touche, that's all, touche, just a touche. Keep up the good work and I'll keep up mine. I didn't get my face blown up. And I had work done to my teeth. Unlike yours, my teeth were not all rotting away. I had a couple of crooked teeth on the bottom. I got caps. I got everything capped, actually. Yeah, I spent the money. It cost a few, but, Philippines doesn't cost that much. It really doesn't. Most of my teeth are crowned. It's not like the edited photographs you people like to put together. My teeth are crowned. You can try to disfigure me in a photograph all you want and make me look 25 years older than I am, but that's not going to change what I look like. It's not going to change my current age. I'm not going to go up 25 years in age because somebody decided to edit photographs. But there's no editing when it comes to your photographs of your teeth. And I've seen it up and close and personal. Okay. All right, I got that off my chest. Now I feel better. But watch what you say, Nico, really. Because you're not one to talk about anybody. And then seriously, all the years you've been on, and I've known of you, I've never seen you with any women except for Maria. That's all I've ever seen you with. All these years. And you're going to criticize, and you have criticized, Gilda. You certainly have. You certainly have. Don't say that you haven't. You certainly have. If not entirely directly, you made some pretty choice innuendos about her. There's nothing wrong with my memory. Nothing wrong with my memory when it comes to something like that. Nothing at all. Just to let you know. Just to let you know. I think it's time. I think it's time for a cup of. I think it's time for a cup of tea. That nice antioxidant tea. So much to learn, Nico. I mean, you listen to my shit all the time. Maybe it's time to learn. Maybe it's time to learn, not to try to burn somebody. Maybe it's time to learn. Take care of yourself, dude. Let's put all the bullshit aside and all this hate crap and come to a reality that there are certain things in your life that you need to take care of. You're not getting any younger, dude. Your social life. Get your social life going, man. Time's going by really quick. Shit, I got a birthday this month, man. I can't believe how all the years went by, and they're quick. I'm going to tell you, man. Poof, poof, like that. Poof. Did you say to yourself, excuse me, after all the years have gone by, didn't you say to yourself, where the hell has the years gone? I say that all the time, even to myself. I said, where the hell has all the years gone? One more. All right. Got that out of my system. Yeah, which I think you need to get me out of your system. You're never going to be me, no matter how hard you try. Not that you'd want to be a little older, but point being is that I'm not obese. And there's really nothing wrong with my teeth. And I get and had gotten women all my life. I never had a problem getting women. Whether it was the United States or it was here in the Philippines. That was never my problem. And I'm in a stable relationship. I've never heard you ever being in a stable relationship. Not at all. So what gives you this special license to knock me all the time? Do you really have to impress Robert that much? Or the boys in the High Road Club? What's it really all about? What's it all about, Nico? Do explain. I'm a good listener. Trust me, I am. I'll listen to you. But your shows are boring, by the way. It's like watching paint dry. And no more close-ups of your face, please. You've got to put a rating on your fucking show or something, man. Seriously. But I've seen your teeth. And yes, again, I'm baffled. I gotta keep on saying it. All the money you spend on grass and all this bullshit, and these trips you make, which is financed probably by the high roaders, one in particular. Why? If you really don't have the money, why can't you reach out to the high roaders and say, hey man, or reach out to Daddy Clausen. Daddy Clausen helps your grandchild out, right? Buy the stroller. Maybe Daddy Clausen will be willing to put some money out because he's got nothing to spend his money on other than the bingo parlor and occasional visit to the casino or repairing his mobility scooter. Why don't you ask him for help? Say, Daddy Clausen, can you help me out with my teeth? I really need to fix them up. This has gone too far. And you like to eat, right? Oh, you certainly do. What if you lost all your teeth and you look like Bummer? You got to gum down your food. Is that what you want? Take care of your teeth. There's no excuse. Hey, it's an observation. It's an observation. But you ain't got no shit to talk about me. You don't even know what I'm capable of doing. Fuck the age. I said that for years. Fuck the age, Snicko. Fuck the age. Age don't always mean everything. It's numbers. It's not ability. It's numbers. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. That's all it is. Find a little peanut. Which cup is it under? Shuffle it around. Shuffle it around. You know, which shell is it under? You never know. Sleight of hand for the operator of that shell game, you know. But you haven't found that little coin or whatever under the shell, and you're always doing a lot of guesswork. Guesswork. I think the point I'm trying to make, I'm pretty sure I've made a pretty good point so far, is that you're really not in a position to talk about little old frail Frank. You're not. You never were, and you never will. Whether you like it or not, we're two different people. Two radically different people. Thank goodness for that. So the point being is, before you run your mouth about me, I'd suggest that you give a little bit of exploration to yourself. In case you haven't understood the whole context of this broadcast, I'll help you out a little bit. You have a lot of self-improvement to work on, Snicko. A whole lot. And you're really in no position to be knocking me all the time. Dude, I'll tell you what, if I got faults, I admit to it. Always have. I am who I am. I got nothing to hide. Nothing to hide at all. I lay it out there all the time. Verbally and otherwise. I mean, I have nothing to hide. And I don't hide my Philippines family out here. They're part of my life. I don't hide them. I'm not embarrassed of them. They're great people. They're doing wonderful. Smart kids. Girlfriend's wonderful. But, oh, that's right, you don't have a girlfriend. Keep that in mind. When you keep on pointing your crooked finger to me, you don't have a girlfriend. You don't have them in Florida. You don't have it in the Philippines. Don't have it in Colombia. You don't have a girlfriend. So shut the fuck up. You got nothing in your life to boast about at all. Boys will be boys, I guess, right? No, seriously, Snicko, you got a lot to work on. I know you're trying to impress the high rollers, the high roaders, but you're not. Try, I think, impressing yourself. This will be the advice channeled this morning. Try impressing yourself by doing things for yourself. Because truthfully, man, I'm not trying to be mean to you, man, but you got nothing to talk about. Shit, I've been on for like a decade on YouTube, and you've been on for quite a while yourself. I don't see you with any woman other than Maria. Or you hang around a bar with some other people, you just happen to be surrounded by some women that they brought over to the table or something. Here, pose. Okay, next shot. I saw that. I remember seeing that video that Big E or something put on. I remember seeing that. You sat with one of them, then you sat with another one, because Big E was trying to come to your rescue, as if to say, oh yeah, Nico doesn't have any women. Yeah, well look at this. I can see these are all Nico's girlfriends. They weren't your girlfriends. That was choreographed. Here, sit down with this one, Big E said. Here, sit down with this other one. There were 3 women. Then you sat down with all 3. And I remember the pictures. Now that you're able to get these fucking women. And you talk about, wait, what? Why my ex broke up with me or I broke up with her, whatever. You always have something to say about something. Well, why did your ex break up with you? You don't talk about that, do you? No, you don't. Why did she leave your sorry ass? Did it happen after the explosion? Did it happen before the explosion? What's the truth? You don't talk about it. I personally never heard you talk about it. I know, Snicko, you don't like me talking about you this way. I understand. I really do. But, touche. Stop talking shit about me. It kind of works that way. And we're all good. I don't hate you, dude. I just think you're pretty messed up. Not just in body, but in fucking mind. Hey, that's an observation of mine. I have the right to that. Talk all the shit you want about me. But the fact is, you don't have a home in the Philippines. You don't have a girlfriend in the Philippines. You don't have a long-term relationship with any woman. I do. I'm living a stable lifestyle. You're not. I mean, it's like comparing apples to oranges. Am I lying? You'll know if I'm lying. I could be lying. I mean, whoever's listening would say, Frank, that's all bullshit. But the question is it really? Everything I just said on here, on this broadcast, am I lying? I'm not lying. You know who you are, what you are. You know your own situation better than anybody on here. So you would know whether I'm telling the truth or not, wouldn't you? And you know I am. Take care of your fucking teeth. Take care of your body. Stop your fucking drinking. And you already admitted that you had a drug past. Did you not admit that? Is it not common knowledge on here? And I have to address this too. I must address it. I must address being a father. Okay. Tell you what, I was a damn good father. As I said, I can't control once they grow up and they leave the nest. I have no control of that, Snicko. I don't have any control of that. Most parents don't. But who raised your kids when they were younger? You didn't raise your kids. Your mother probably did. Where were you in your kid's life when you were drugging it up? You were drugging it up. You said it. No disclaimer on this at all. You said it. You've talked about your past. That's how we, meaning all of us that listen to it, and myself, know this. Where were you in your children's life when you were drugging it up? And you're still boozing it up. I don't know what else you're doing. I don't really care. But you're still boozing it up, that's for sure. Some things don't change. You're very lucky to have a good relationship with your daughter. I'm really happy for you for that. I am. I seriously am. I wish I had a better relationship with my daughter. I absolutely do. No question. No question. So kudos on that. You've come a long way. That your daughter's in your life. You now have a granddaughter. That's fantastic. Kudos for that, Nico. You come a long way. But don't try to change your past. Because you can't change the past. It's now history, but it's part of history. It's part of facts. You were fucking with drugs. You were all fucked up. And maybe that happened, I don't know, because of the injury. You got into some bad shit, feeling sorry for yourself. I don't know. I really don't know. But you did. No matter what the rhyme or I know about drug situations. My brother, I never hit it. For the best part of his life, not all of it, he was into drugs. All kinds of drugs, Nico. All kinds. You're probably familiar with all of them. Sad. Very sad that my bro unfortunately took that direction of life, of drugs and drinking. But he had stopped. Continued drinking, of course. That didn't help, considering he had all these other medical situations before him. It was kind of a bad situation for him. It really was. Now he died. But it was a lesson learned to me. That's why I never got into these street drugs, any of that kind of shit. I never got into any serious drinking. And I could tell you that the whole time that I've ever lived out here in the Philippines, my lips have probably touched one beer. One beer in over 9 years. One beer that I couldn't even finish. It was just handed to me at a neighbor's party. I figured I'd be social with him, and had to have a beer with him in some celebrity nature of sorts, but I couldn't even finish the beer. I just don't drink. I may have one other habit, which I'm not very happy about, but I could definitely say I don't drink. My lips don't touch alcohol. The only alcohol that goes anywhere near my body is hand sanitizer, and that's about it. I don't like alcohol. I don't like how drunk and stupid people get when they're drinking, how rowdy they get, how much beer muscle they have, how cocky they get. Now, that's not me, man. That's never been me, and it never actually will be. But you could change. You could change. You could definitely change if you want. But I got to emphasize the point here. Why all this innuendos and name calling to me when you yourself have a lot to work on? I guess that's my point. Now that I made my point, you have a good day and treat your grass right.
They got no life whatsoever. They don't have any friends. They could never show you a friend. They could never sit down and do a video with any friends whatsoever and have a civil conversation with another person. Do you think those people know about health? They know about mental health? Do they know about physical health? I don't think so. They certainly don't know about financial health when their whole life was a life of scamming and bankruptcies. I'm not naming names, of course. I'm just saying anyone who might be fitting that description. But this is an alternative and something worth considering. Swimming. And, of course, yoga, aerobics, cycling, so many things. But also getting out and meeting people, talking to people, holding conversations, socializing. You could be like our favorite shut-in who does nothing but spew hate and jealousy and rage. You gotta wonder, why are some men on YouTube so jealous of other men? Why are they so obsessed with their bodies? Are they gay? Are they attracted to other men? I know some people, things didn't work out the way they hoped. They could only get a rent-a-family. They could only buy a relationship. Yes, we know that. But you don't have to succumb to this. You could get out, get some exercise. There's many different ways to do it. This is just one. And it's probably the best because it's the best on your joints. You lose more calories per hour swimming than almost anything else that I know of. There's a lot of other good ones, of course. One tells the truth, for instance, that Barry Jordan is taller. He has to go on and do show after show after show to disprove that. He can't let that one go. He has to get up there and try to prove that he's taller. Now, he misrepresents everything. He lies about everything and everybody. Now, I don't care what an insignificant nothing like him thinks anyway. I never cared about his opinion. Nobody cares about his opinion. He's got 2 or 3 trolls. We pointed it out last night. Sometimes I have been one of the trolls that's in there bashing me, and he buys it every single time. Don C. has been one of those trolls. We know who the trolls are, and they're just playing him. They're baiting him. Nobody actually gives a shit what he says about health advice. So what is that, and how do we deal with it? How do we get rid of it? Well, when you're in lots of parts of Southeast Asia, you're dealing with people who often have very bad hygiene. They don't know how to clean themselves, or they simply clean themselves with a tabo and splash water on the outside part of their vagina. So in many cases, SPS is just simply bad hygiene. But there's also an enormous amount of UTIs and BV, bacterial vaginosis, as well as VD, venereal diseases, mostly chlamydia and gonorrhea, although there is syphilis outbreaks from time to time. And of course, in a much more serious note, there is a lot of HIV that's spreading like wildfire all over Southeast Asia. So for one, you can...
I got $100 smoking in my billfold. I know I ought to save it, but it's burning a hole right through my pocket and into my skin. Come Monday morning, I'll be broke again. It's finally Friday, I'm free again. I got my...
Solomon was called the wisest man that was ever born of woman by Jesus himself. Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. So my words of wisdom to you today is, don't be a simp who settles for one. Get yourself a nice miniature harem. Go out and kick the tires, test the waters. If you end up wanting to be with only one, that's fine too. But don't go for the first one that you meet. These are some of the pearls of wisdom I learned from my pastor, the man of the cloth himself. I want to say, free Barry Jordan. We are praying for your speedy release from this unjust incarceration that you faced. Hopefully you will be out soon, out to breathe the fresh air. Come on over here to Da Nang, where it's 23 degrees, about 74 degrees Fahrenheit here today. Slightly breezy, calm, cool waters, and the chitlins are having fun. So, just want to touch base with all of you. Say, be at peace, my brothers.
Yes, yes, yes. Freedom. Freedom is coming. Go out there, listen to the birds, go out upon Mother Nature. After being incarcerated over 2 years of his life, freedom is coming next week. Long overdue, say some, but by the kind heart, new information released from inside sources that freedom will ring for the cockroach. But that's what we want. To go back to the motherland and pursue whatever may come his way. But the agreement, well, the high roaders have agreed to pay all owed, bar none. But it can't go into the cockroach's hands. It has to go into his girlfriend's hands. They didn't trust it any other way. Well, I can't blame them. But yes, it's true. The high roaders have gotten together. My inside resources tell me. And it should be as early as next week that after the paperwork is done, he will have his freedom after all. The trials and literally and tribulation maybe have finally come to an end, or maybe it's coming to a new beginning, for good or for worse. Next week, folks. Is it true? Has the high roaders come true for our friend, your friend, and mine? Finally. I join you in saying, free Barry J, free Barry J, free Barry J. Well, it's about time. The high roaders, we gotta praise them. I kind of doubted them for a while. But they came through. Next week, Barry should have his freedom. Tickets will be paid. Court will be paid. I'll be paid. Lawyer will be paid of his. All his immigration for almost 7 years of overstay, everything is going to be paid by the high roaders. Let's give a congratulations to the high roaders. A round of applause.
Вы заинтересованы в изучении английского языка? Тогда я подготовил для вас
And
особый
Chinese
подарок.
is now, China is
Специально для
actually
вас я
declaring.
создал уникальный словарь, главные 3000 слов, которые статистически чаще всего...
Everybody. Although you've been down a bad journey in life, now you'll get a chance to get away from that strife. Freedom is around the corner, and it is gonna be true. true, and your release from prison is going to turn your world blue. Go, my friend, go in peace. Go in peace and be on your way. I'm behind you this very day to start your life anew. Freedom for you, and may peace be with you, son. I have been on this journey far too long, but his started, well, it was really, really long time ago. But now his time is coming, and he has to go. We are celebrating the soon-to-come release of Barry Lee Jordan. We wish you a good journey. Yes, we truly do. We wish placid waters and everything that's true. Okay, folks. Everything has a beginning, everything has an end to it. End of a journey, end of a journey. And we gotta thank the high roaders for making this even remotely possible. He's getting out, my friends. He's getting out next week. Special thanks. Need I name them, the high roaders, but they made a special deal with Mr. Jordan's girlfriend. Apparently they have a heart after all, and, well, they figured he suffered enough, but the question was, why didn't they help him a lot earlier than this? I don't understand it. They let him suffer. They let him suffer. In the sweltering heat of Bicutan. How horrible is that? But the pressure was on. The pressure was on. We got to help this guy. And they are. It was time. High roaders, not raiders. People that take the high road on YouTube. Okay, folks, that is the news for today. Freedom rings. I knew the high roaders would come true. Well, I assure you, this show's not about ant spray, but it might as well be. Now, India is attacking Pakistan. I guess I haven't been following world news very often. I don't know what's going on in this world. YouTubers attacking other YouTubers, finding reason to find fault with them. The question is, what the hell is going on with our society? Tell you what, I'm glad I'm the age I am. I'm very happy. Really don't want to live to see the maybe not so distant future. What holds out for people, for humans, for this planet. People fight with each other for seemingly sometimes no reasons. Go on the attack. Countries attacking each other, and sometimes you're scratching your head. Why? You want to go back to the Vietnam War, you want to go back to any skirmish. It's all about human greed and human need. It's about imperialism, superiority, imperialism. I don't know. I can't keep up with this stuff. History was never really my major. Although I've been a pretty good student of human nature, and being on YouTube for a while has certainly taught me a lot. People are just generally mean. We live in a violent society. Let's see. Oregon. Guy in a minivan apparently gets into a road rage with a guy on a motorcycle on the highway. So the person in the van uses his 2-ton machine to run the motorcycle off the road, crashes into him sideways. The guy's in the hospital. 3 people killed in a restaurant in Arizona. I don't know what that was all about, but all you got to do is turn on the news. Anywhere. There is so much violence going on in this world. I don't know. Is the denominator greed? Is it the economy? Is it in the water? Is it governmental on the hands of the government doing? Could it be the COVID shots? I have no idea. Example, I've been on YouTube for a while, and I think it's gotten worse in the past 4 years. The worst I've ever seen it, considering I was on about 6 years around that time. Before that, I've witnessed it. Hey, I'm one of the recipients. Okay. I really don't know what's going on. Families fall apart because of pride. I mean, we had an era where, we still do, where children are just, getting nipped at their parents for no apparent good reason. People alienated each other from each other, The gathering of evil. It's everywhere. That's one thing I don't have any answers for. I could talk about things I know a lot about, but, I'm actually stymied on this. I'm just, I try not to listen to all the craziness that goes on in the world. Well, I've got a tool in my hand that allows me to understand what's going on in the outside world, outside of this little island in the Pacific, in a third world country, developing country called the Philippines. I kind of like it that way, to tell you the truth. That's why another reason I don't like it, live in a big city. Nah, I wouldn't last, not in a big city. I know it's just not me that's feeling this way. I understand why people are. Dude, I've been hearing a lot of shows lately, but again, it's just rehashing old hash. But people always talking about why they left America or the country they came from, and they would never go back there again, and they give all their reasons why. Of course, we've heard it time and time again. But there's reason for that. I don't think anybody's happy no matter where they are. In fact, we got a lot of people, expats, actually, that came out here, and, nobody put a gun to their head, but they're doing shows on here on what they don't like about the Philippines, or the culture, or infrastructure, or whatever. Well, nobody forced you to come out here. I don't know, it just seems that nobody's happy where they are. I'm quite happy, actually. I don't mind. Now, they're questioning their own relationships. Well, if you have to question your relationship, maybe you shouldn't be with the woman. Look at it that way. Then, people sometimes come here commonly will come here for the wrong reasons, that they're actually running away from something. The law, or people against them, something horrible that they did in their country. They all come here. Mexico, something just happened in Mexico too. I forgot what happened there. There's always something happening in Mexico. 22, how many? There was a group of young men and women in their 20s that got shot and killed and dismembered in some part of Mexico, and they don't know if it's part of a rival cartel for somebody that did something to these young people, that maybe they were running drugs for somebody. I don't know what happened on that exactly, but something recently within this past week. Bodies, even the hands were taken off, cut off. I mean, what the hell is going on? Do you people even take a serious look at yourself and see who you support on YouTube? Do you ever ask yourself why? I don't know. The chair, you got that right. Always be the chair, always be my Philippines interest. So much shit going on, man. And for example, you want to watch TV, right? Netflix, YouTube, whatever it might be on. Everything is violence. Everything is guns, knives, people killing each other, wars. We are war animals. I think we've always been. You know what? I wouldn't blame an alien, an alien nation. I mean, not like foreign aliens on the earth, but, these extraterrestrial type of aliens. I wouldn't blame them to want to exterminate the earth. Let the animals live. I think maybe the earth is one big experiment to see, and this has been talked about if you follow the right speakers and scientists and other people that have been very big time into exploring human nature and who have open minds, and not to be afraid to talk about that there is life outside of Earth. Of course, you'd have to be totally arrogant to think that we're the only planet with life on it. And generally, what would be a human's reaction when something comes that you don't understand? You want to kill it. You want to kill it. You want to kill it right away. Maybe an extraterrestrial comes down, and they come in peace. No, not like on the, was that a limits? How to Serve Man. It was a cookbook. Okay. You know, maybe they would come in peace. Maybe they're afraid to. Well, I think they have more advanced technology, but they wouldn't be that caring or be afraid of us. But I think they know that humans is just a violent species of life, organic life. And what's that, Esther? Sometimes it feels like an end of the world sci-fi movie in the YouTube community. Boy, you would think so, wouldn't you? No, I'm being serious, guys. Look, I've been on here a long time. I think I've heard it all, seen it all, and sometimes I think I've heard or seen it all, and I don't. People just butted up against other people on here that they really don't know on a personal level, just hearsay, and we've all gotten involved in it, even myself. People that you really don't know on a personal level. But however, you got to know them on a certain level of watching or listening to them of what they're all about in another respect. But knowing them personally, sitting down, breaking bread, most of us have not done that. Maybe they're different. I doubt it. I trust my instincts. But it's just that, you know, even little things, looking for a movie to watch or something when I'm in the house, and there's not one movie that doesn't involve violence of some sort. It's picking up again. Yeah. Getting killed in restaurants. Road rage. I mean, we've always had road rage. Shit, I got involved with road rage a couple of times. Seriously. It just goes to show you, we are all capable of doing things that we never thought that we would ever do. Shit, I remember being pissed off because somebody cut me off or something, and I followed them for about 2 miles at full speed just to send them a message and say, hey, what the fuck? I remember when I went to visit my daughter the last time I did, we were in a supermarket or a mall, something parking lot, and there's a couple of lanes, the right lane and left lane was all going the same direction out. And my daughter was signaling to get in that lane because she needed to be in the right lane because she was going to make a right turn when it comes out to the exit of the lot, right? And, you know, the guy sees that she had her blinkers on, turn signal on. Instead of him accommodating her, he hits the accelerator to get close to the car in front of him to not allow her. And I'm at the window, which was shut because it was rainy outside and kind of cold. And I got my hands in the air, making an expression like, what the fuck? And the guy gives me a finger. My daughter wasn't doing anything wrong. This is our society, man. Wow. Everybody's at war with each other. Everybody has an I'm going to get you attitude. I'm going to get you attitude. I've said it 1,000 times. Live your life. It's so precious, and as you get older, you'll realize that more and more and more and more. You're still breathing oxygen. You still get up in the morning. You may have a family or whatever, or a new family, or an old family. Don't you want to get up the next morning? Do you really want to run your mouth that somebody with some kind of psychosis is going to come there and put a knife in your fucking skull? Or shoot you in the heart? Or break every bone in your fucking body? Do you really want that? It happens. It happens all the time. Little things that turn into big things. And guess what? We're all capable of that, every single one of us. You may think on a surface level, I would never do that. No, you don't know that. You are quite capable. I'm quite capable. We're all quite capable of doing something like that. Push us hard enough. Give us the opportunity to be near you physically. See how you feel then. Maybe nothing will happen. Maybe a lot will happen. Maybe you'll regret something. Maybe they'll regret something. Why let it come to that? Over something on YouTube? Seriously? The gathering place mostly of fucking losers. It's not worth it. Just not worth it. Not worth it. All these people so eager to get their 1,000 subs and get their 4,000 watch hours, to have their own YouTube channels. They can make $200 a month on an average after a while. Well, they get to the point when they do that, then they ask themselves, was it worth it to put up with the bullshit? I mean, I don't even make money on here. I have no reason to be on. Really, there is no gain, no financial gain or other gain for me to even be on here. Not really. But I've seen it built up through the years since I've been on here. You got people pushing their wallet around. They want to form harems. And it's supposed to be religious too, but then they're going to quote Solomon. Give me a fucking break. Well, Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. These are sick fucking people, man. Sick people. Then when their lives get so goddamn complicated and the woman takes all their fucking money. Not that it never happened before with a lot of these people, but they just don't learn. In many ways, they're like the guy that's in Big-Kitan. Never learns. Never learns. Anyway, I wish I could bring you joy and happiness and peace. I just can bring you reality, and you can take that any way you want. Reality. Face the fact, you're falling apart, the world is falling apart, planet's falling apart, nobody gives a shit. Do you really think people are going to really enact any kind of really practiced environmentalism that at this point is really going to reverse all the ill effects on the earth from industry, car pollution, improper waste disposal? I go on and on and on and on, dumping shit into the oceans. It's never going to stop. Never going to stop. That's why I say more so, enjoy your life now. In any way that you feel that you want to enjoy your life, no matter what it is, but stay out of the chismiz bullshit on here, and in your private life too, outside of YouTube. Keep a low profile in your life. Go on. You want to live in the Philippines? Nothing wrong with that. Although a lot of people will find plenty wrong. But then again, maybe you shouldn't have came out here. Or maybe you've been out here long enough to realize maybe it's not the place for you. Ever think about that? You can go back to where you came from. Nobody would give a shit, quite frankly. Neither would I. But you make your decision to come here as anywhere else that you might be interested in living or trying out. If you're going to do a show and you're just going to complain about it all the time, then you shouldn't be here in the Philippines. And maybe if you're planning and you haven't even been here yet, and you got an attitude of that nature, maybe then you shouldn't come to the Philippines, not even for the first time. Save yourself the agony and the trouble, because the fact is we don't need any more psychopaths with all the psychosis they carry around to come to this country. We have enough psychopathic expats in the Philippines. More than enough. But I'm not saying it's just from the United States. That would be unfair. It's from other countries. People come here too. And they get themselves in a world of hurt out here. Oh boy. I think one of the best things that people can do is basically surround yourself with people that matter to you. And as I said, one of the worst things you could do out here. Sounds terrible, but it's true. Everybody wants to come from their country and be around other people from a Western culture. Why did you just stay where you were? It's not the Filipinos that are bad people out here. It's the fucking foreigners that cause all the trouble. It's not the Filipinos. It's just not. Oh, Hemi, you back? Well, I started off mentioning that. I really don't know what's happening between why India is throwing missiles or whatever at Pakistan. I guess I haven't kept up with this stuff, really. To me, it's like, oh, well, another country pissed off at another country again. Gee, I wonder why. No, Heminger's not inciting violence. That's what I actually spoke about when I first came on the show. I don't even know what's going on. And by the way, India's up there as a nation to be aware of. They've got the military capability. They don't just sell Slurpees at 7-Eleven or make a good curry. Just to let you know. How's it healthy? I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Houthi or healthy? Yeah. Well, let's not get too political here. Okay. Because it's over my head. But I do know one thing. It's not working out for Trump supporters. It's just not. Oh, man, that stuff I do see the feeds on all the time. It's just not working out. It really isn't. But as I said all the time, I didn't vote for Trump. And I could live with myself. The worst thing anybody ever did is a vote for Trump. People are more so moving out of the United States now with him in office. I know French. I don't know French. Okay, so you're saying that Pakistan, they started it? You're saying that Pakistan shot down 5 jets in India. And then what? India retaliated and sent some missiles to Pakistan? I don't know French. What makes you think I know French? I have no clue. I don't follow all these world issues, in part, because I don't really care. I've already been made aware that this world has been falling apart. Our industrial society. There's a lot of people that say, I wish I would have lived in simpler times, but simpler times were actually not simple. I did a show the other day. I was talking about the medieval times. Those were not easy times. In fact, they were horrible times the way people lived. It wasn't like kings were surrounded, or the head of the family was surrounding, had big turkey legs and all the dressings and everything. You got to see what shit they ate, man. They ate what they can get. They had a soup, like a vegetable soup that took 4 days to make. It was just like some whatever vegetables was in a frothy fucking horrible soup, and they'd eat meat that was a week or so old that you couldn't even stand the smell because there's no refrigeration. I mean, I don't want to do a repeat of the medieval times, but I mean, when people say, you know, the good old days, I don't know what they're talking about, but maybe the days have never been good. I think people, as humans, have always been, in a sense, a struggle, and I think one of the reasons is separatism. I think it's when people get divided into class systems, and there's always been some kind of a class system, and even the Indians, they got the, what do you call it? They have a caste system with the Indians, and which is still practiced. These are very poor people that cannot associate with anybody out of their class, be near them, and nobody can be near them. It's just, it's insane. It's insane. Fun fact, Nero crucified Christians after the fire. Well, somebody was playing the fiddle at the time, weren't they? Wasn't there a violin being played at the time or something? My history is bad. It says Trump was opening Alcatraz. You think, well, considering that Alcatraz makes something like, I was reading an article on that, they bring into the government $60 million a year or $600 million a year from tourism. One or the other. It wouldn't make any sense to close down Alcatraz for tourism to make a prison, because, you know, the government would be deficited by a hell of a lot of money. There's rain in town, it's not raining here. Oh. There's a lot of controversy on what happened with Nero and the fires. Like, did Nero do it, or did someone else, and what happened after that? History is very interesting, although I'm not a historian, but I do have an interest in history, but mostly with architecture, historical architecture. That's kind of mostly where I'm at with history. It's not necessary to people themselves, but it does involve people, how people live their lives. I'll look at an old structure, I've talked about this before, and I'll say, I wonder how many lives went through that beautiful structure that they lived in, and how many people lived and died, how many children were born, things like that. God, look at these ants, what the? Hold on a second there, folks. Special ant spray here. Yeah, I guess I have an interest in architecture. I just love just the history on the old buildings. They could be old churches, though not religious. It's still very, interesting stuff. Phew. It's supposed to be some ant spray. I thought it was a big container they were sending me, and They sent me this like little 4 ounce container. It's supposed to be a natural type of. Your mom says it's raining in downtown. It ain't raining here. No, it's not raining here. Not raining here. I have to try this stuff out, see if it works. Okay, where were we? A visa run to Scotland. And how do I accomplish that when they won't let me out of the country? How would I do that? Explain. Just don't think that's possible at the moment. But would I go to Scotland for a trip? Not really. I'd like to investigate Italy a little bit. See if it's all that in my ancestry, but I was always interested in the Romans, but the Colosseum I thought was outrageous. The Colosseum. And, people always being people. All the fights that went on in the Colosseum, fights to their death. It's mankind. Face the reality, mankind is a species of organisms that is violent and highly territorial. And I think the territorial nature of humans is what makes people do what they do. And the inherent greed. Where doesn't Trump have a tower? You never seen a man like that that's so in love with himself is Donald Trump. Just to think he has a son, and boy, that boy is tall. In fact, I heard that he doesn't like his son to stand on him on stage anywhere on a platform next to him, because he doesn't want to display how much taller he is than dear old dad. His son's pretty tall. He'll be a future president. I hate to say that. Hopefully Junior's not going to follow in his dad's steps. 10th anniversary of the chair. I don't know. To tell you the truth, man, I don't know the exact date that I came on here. It could date back to, I think it dates back to 2013, 2014, approximately, on the original stats I've ever looked at. Maybe in that early time, I was just kind of exploring. It wasn't really at some point doing shows. But I think I got to bring myself to a point where I got to do a little bit more self-examination of why I'm on here. Look, let me tell you something, and I'll say it over and over again. Retiring in the Philippines. I tell Gilda's kids all the time. I said, this is retirement for a farm. I said, I guarantee you I was a lot more active than this before I lived in this country, and I was, actually. I was. Far more. You didn't get into your chair groove till around 2015. Okay. I don't know the exact dates, but you say so. I don't really keep close track on that, to be honest with you. I really don't. Okay, something I gotta do here. It's supposed to be some kind of a natural ant spray of some sort. I have no idea. It's probably a bunch of shit. What did this little bottle cost me? About $2.45, somewhere around there. Tiny little bottle. It's only like 4 ounces. It's not much. It's more like a peppermint. And it's probably no real modern science behind us, really. It's just that some ants and insects are repelled by like a peppermint smell or things like that. I gotta lay another egg for us. Chicken's been hanging around a certain spot over here. We have a local dog that comes around here, and more so to the neighbors, because supposedly the ownership of this dog is people way out in the back. But they're not very responsible for the dog, and my neighbor said this dog has been pretty wobbly lately, and we're not sure why. We thought that he got his mouth on a frog or something, but you know, if he got a real good dose of anything of a frog, the toads I talk about, he would actually be probably dead by now. Either he's just a combination of heat and not enough food or something, quite possibly. He was having some kind of seizure, but he was walking kind of lopsided. It don't appear to have any physical injuries at all. So go figure. I don't know. I just don't got the answers for everything, guys. I'm not going to be on here much long. I'll save this stuff for later. When we get a bigger ant invasion. Yeah, it smells like a peppermint is what it smells like. Miss Hemingway, Frank, don't bother to leave your house anymore. It's just order using DHL. DHL? I get things delivered. What are you talking about? I didn't go out to buy this ant spray. Coffee break. You really pissed that hen off. I did. Why did I do that? Okay, do you leave water out for frogs to keep them hydrated? No, I don't have to, because our gray water, you know, from the washer, it's outside. And it goes on to this gravelly area. And when it's damp during a real hot season, a dry season, you'll see frogs there, toads, numerous there all the time, because they want to be near the moisture, or you might find them in flower pots during a hot season, a dry season. What about DHL? I order stuff from Lazada, mostly. Vitamins, things like that, other items. Tell me I had a frog in it for sure he got. Not sure how he got there, of course. It's hot. Well, I live in dry. Well, it's according to what kind of frog it is, but they are amphibians. Well, they find their way around. You'd be surprised what you might have around your house that you don't actually see it. Well, generically, just, you know, call them frogs, whatever. They're toads, they're different, but they look like a frog. Oh, they find a way. Like I said, you know, I remember last year, the droughts, several months are really bad. I told you grass out here, and I showed it was brown, the cow was dead, partially because of the drought, and you still find the frogs around, but they instinctively will go to areas that are moist and damp, and that's where you'll find them. I remember as a kid, I used to dig into the water canals, and deep in the mud, there were toads living in it. Yeah. They, this adaptation to the environment. Look at the lungfish, a good example, that adapted, evolved into a creature that strictly could breathe underwater, but evolution took place, and because of the droughts and the rivers drying up, over time, it actually developed lungs that could breathe on land as well as in the water. Who knows, maybe we'll develop gills. I don't know. But I think we probably evolved in part from the ocean, actually. I think all life probably came from the ocean. And we know so little about the ocean. It's amazing, it takes up most of the space of the earth, like 70% or something. I don't know the exact percentage, but and we know so little about the kind of life that lives in the ocean. And of course, we've been down in the Mariana Trench and other places, and they discovered some different interesting creatures around there, but there's so much more to explore. And that's where they think they talk about extraterrestrials, but actually it's more terrestrial. They might be right here with us on Earth, and we could be hybrids. But you got to think out of the box with that one, and the average person refuses to believe something like that could exist. When you think of everything else that has changed and evolved, how could you not think that something like that, right under our own feet or under our own ocean, that they're there? How many times they've seen crafts coming out of the ocean or going into it? I was watching a show the other day about UFOs, and they got all the footage, these fighter pilots, reputable people. When they opened up the files, we had a government agency just like the X-Files for a while. Big cover-up, major cover-up. They had a craft. Now listen to this. I'm not going to be on it too much longer, but they had a craft that was going at the speed of about 13,000 miles per hour. And the fastest jet fighter was, I don't know, it was 700 miles per hour or something, I don't know. Not only was the craft going what they estimated to be 13 miles per hour, but that craft could do a zigzag pattern. Do you know that the average high-speed aircraft, it could take half of the state of Ohio to make a full turn? And these crafts, whatever they were, could stop. Boom! 13,000 miles per hour and could come to a full stop. They can make a left turn, right turn, go up or down. How the hell do you do that? And they've seen this on their screens and camera. So yeah, something actually exists out there, that's for sure. What's this? If there was a nuclear war, what is my game plan? There's a nuclear war, there's no game plan. You're going to die of radiation poisoning, or according to how close you are to the nuclear explosion, but it's all going to be in the environment. You're going to get sick and ill and probably die. I stopped believing in aliens after Unsolved Mysteries was canceled. Oh, okay. You were a believer while Unsolved Mysteries were on. I liked that show, by the way. I enjoyed it, actually. I bet you didn't know that when they landed on the moon, it was manually controlled like an airplane. Well, I also seen a show. Well, first of all, there's a lot of people don't believe that they ever been on the moon in the first place. And why haven't they continued their efforts? That's another question. Okay? They started off saying they were in this big competition with Russia during the Cold War, and all that. But there's also been shows saying that there were some kind of life forms on the moon, or were actual structures on the moon. There was a certain labeled areas on the moon that they were talking about, that they've seen structures that had to be built by somebody that had some kind of intellect. There's a lot of people that are saying that it didn't make sense them being on the moon because there's no atmosphere, but yet they showed an American flag, and the flag was moving. There is no atmosphere on the moon. No atmosphere. How could the flag be waving? How could the flag be rippling? There is no atmosphere on the moon. I heard the theory about whether they landed on the moon, but I heard they manually flew it on the moon. So now I believe it. It was not easy to do. I'm not sure about that. You can see people land on the moon with telescopes from Earth. It could have been unmanned spacecrafts, and then the rest was just dubbed in. Because you had to see the position of the sun. It didn't match when they were walking on the moon. So there's a lot of controversy that was very well examined. And it didn't add up because their shadows were casted differently. And the flag was waving, moving. And as I said, there's no atmosphere on the moon. They could have gone to some place like Hawaii in the lava fields to film some of this stuff, and no, I don't think at that time we had the capability of landing a man on the moon. I don't believe that, and a lot of people say that too. I don't believe we had the capability of doing that, but we wanted Russia to believe we did. There was a lot of competition with Russia. I don't think we have, but we have the capability now, and I think there has been flights that have been going to the moon with people for specific reasons, to see if they could colonize the moon, to see if it was even possible to do so. Now, how do you create an atmosphere? For example, there are planets that don't have an atmosphere. Well, guess what? You know how you create an atmosphere? They could take planets. Well, of course, if it's too hot of a planet or too cold, they can't do it, but they want to find something as temperate as possible. But you could create an atmosphere by polluting it. I'm not kidding you. They've talked about this. Introducing certain gases and things into the atmosphere of a planet that doesn't have an atmosphere. And clouds will form, and it's very complicated to talk about, even for me, because it's quite elaborate, but there's a certain simplicity to it. You can create an atmosphere on a planet by introducing different gases, greenhouse gases, whatever. I don't know how it's done, but I did see a video in regards to this. They had military training. It was not easy to land on the moon, but possible. Warthog comes in. There's no way anyone could convince me. We flew to the moon and landed that erector set of spaceship on the surface, then fly all the way back to Earth. No way. No, they did. I'm in agreement with you on there. They talked about this too. We did not have the technology at the time to do that. No. And the moon rover and all that. So we did not have the technology to do that. I have to agree with you on that. It's been said time and time again. We didn't. It was all having to do with Russia. Earth wanted to be ahead in the space program. We know damn sure there's lots of you know, space stations out there with Russians and Chinese and Americans and all that. There are space stations. And what do you think they're doing? They're creating satellites with laser. They got laser technology. They've had that for a while. Oh, they absolutely do. And one of the reasons, it's not just for warfare, but you see sci-fi a lot, but actually, if there is an oncoming meteor to this planet, they got to find a way to destroy it. But the unfortunate thing about that is when you break up a meteor, it's going to go into millions of pieces. Unless you have the technology to destroy all these pieces, it's still going to do a lot of big destruct on our planet. So I don't know how far, the government's not going to tell you how far they come with technology. I'm sure they come a long way. But what's the purpose of trying to protect the earth when the government and people themselves don't give a fuck about the earth? I mean, everybody gives a fuck about making money and living in a nice house and driving a nice car to impress the neighbors. That's pretty much people. They don't care. They want to get laid. They want to make more money. They want to flaunt their wallet around to get all the chicks because they can't get them otherwise. That's the average human out here. But as far as them caring about the future, people live for now. These are the now people. Let's call them the now people. They're living for now. They don't care about the future. They figure, I'll be dead by then, who cares? They don't care about future generations, but they go off and they have children. They're going to be part of the future generations, and the grandchildren be part of the future generations. They don't seem to care about that either. The Dragon starships that exist today from SpaceX make the moon landing vehicles laughable. Yeah, they come an incredible way, but they're not going to tell you everything. The government is secret about everything, and a lot of people who work for the government, they're not going to do a little telltale thing because they'll be removed from their job or worse, get their pensions taken away. There's been a lot of closed-mouthed people, but there's been a lot of open-mouthed people who took the chance and they got information out. The government, your own government, you don't even understand it. There was a senator once that, how many years ago, was in a commercial air flight, and that plane exploded. Some senator was on there, and people could swear that there was a missile of some sort that hit the airplane. They were trying to write it off as being something internal. Yeah, you don't want to go against your own government, that's for sure. And you don't want to go against somebody else's government. What about Mark Thornton? Yeah, Fazio's still in the sky, like on Flying Circus funny video. And he's saying, fuck you, Frank, from the clouds. But I think Flying Circus has got it wrong. It's the other direction. He should be coming, yelling at me from a fiery hell, not from the clouds in the sky. Fazio is circling the moon. He's with the lizard people now. I wonder, good question. I wonder if he was buried with his Obama doll. I mean, he used to take that thing diving with him. I got to give Fazio a little bit of credit. He did go scuba diving. He did go, but I think he had a little experience there. He was doing welding maybe in New York or something. Maybe he had to go learn to go underwater or something. But Fazio did scuba dive. I got to give him credit. He did do that. He did do that. And it wasn't that Fazio was not intelligent. I think Fazio was really intelligent. But he was just screwed up in the brain. Well, he tried to act like he was an expert in just about everything. He knew a lot about this and he knew a lot about that. but he never really got it all right. He stole the jet skis, yeah, well, one of them anyway. He puts it on the roof of his little abode, his shack, which was stupid. That could have came down on, I don't know. He just did. Loneliness will drive you crazy, man. I don't know, man. It just seems like the older I get, it seems like the less I really want to do to go traveling around the Philippines and the hot weather and all the form. I've talked about this before, and I'll say it again. What the hell? I just think it becomes more of a hassle. But there are some really beautiful places I would like to see, actually, in the Philippines. There is. And I take back what I said once, that it all looks the same, but it really doesn't. There are some really beautiful areas, beautiful little small islands I'd like to go to. I'm talking about these little, tiny little islands that are uninhabited, you know, and that's what I'd like to experience. I've never been to any island that was in the middle of the Pacific like that, that was uninhabited, because it was really small, more of an atoll or something, you know. That's really tropical. That's the real island experience. Big enough so that, you know, it has some dense forestry on there, you know. It might have a little bit of animal life on it, but not big enough and resourceful enough for any Filipinos to, or anybody else to, want to live on it, okay? Because the resources and distance it would take you to find resources would be just almost impossible. But I would love to spend a few hours on a place like that. And they exist all over the Philippines. They actually do exist. They do. That's why God created YouTube. No need to travel for views. You always come up with some winners there, Heminger. Nah, you know, it just comes to a point when you get older, man. I got a lot of energy, but not as much as I used to have. Or the ambition to. With me, it's more like lack of patience, really. I've always said that. Of having to wait for different forms of transportation. You know, they're either leaving late, they're taking too long, and how many times you got to transfer from one source of transportation to another, just to go to a place that has another beach, and I got a beach is right over here. However, there are some really interesting beaches in, now for example, I would never go to Bacolod, I would never go to Boracay. Why? I mean, I don't want to be around a crowd of tourists. I really don't. That would not make it fun for me. I mean, you know, there are people that like being around thousands of other people, but that's just really not me. That's why you never see me go to the, you know, the big religious festivals, Sinulog in Cebu, because I don't want to be around hundreds of thousands of people in the street. Oh, hell no. I'd be frustrated. Hell no. That's the last thing I want. Get some 3D glasses, enhance the experience. Yeah, huh? No, that's not for me. I mean, I was more, at a younger age, more into more exploration and stuff like that, you know. Try to go off the beaten path if I could. And I did some places, you know. And that's what I like. I just don't, I don't know, they have some really extraordinary waterfalls in the Philippines. Not the typical ones you hear of all the time, but they have some extraordinary waterfalls. And the problem with that is that they just can't leave Mother Nature alone. They got to make it a tourist trap. You know, you'll see rafts in the water. Not like Calosan Falls, but there's some other, maybe the more obscure So you may not hear as much as those, but they're magnificent, magnificent waterfalls. And where you go, there's people. Then they're going to build a platform, perhaps, or somebody's going to build a little eatery there so you can make money and take advantage of and capitalizing on the waterfall. They just can't leave Mother Nature alone. No, I don't have fear of crowds. I don't fear crowds at all. Jesus Christ, man. I used to go to college in New York City. I mean, come on, seriously. I don't have fear of crowds. Uh-oh. This thing is telling me that it's pooping out. No, I don't have fear of crowds. I just don't like being around a cotillion people. Look, I used to take those crowded subways. Believe me, they're like sardine cans. Look at all the people on the platform. You can't even move during rush hour on the subway platforms to enter the train. And people shove you in and they shove you out. That's enough of that for me. But no, I don't have fear of crowds. I just choose not to be. I don't mind some of the local events here. You know, they have big holidays. There's lots of tourists here. Parades, people on the street. I could deal with that. That's not a big problem. It's just bigger venues, you know, bigger venues. But, you know, why the hell would I want to go to a big beach that is so crowded with tourists, kids screaming, and, you know, I don't know. And 1,000 restaurants, and it's not the kind of experience that I like. Unless that's what I want. That I want to find a resort area on a beach that has some good places to eat, and that's by choice, but that's not something that I would normally want to do. You know, I'm not scared of crowds. I just think this planet is overpopulated as it is. People are trying to get away from that experience of being around a lot of people. People want that peace. That's why you get these very brave few people that move out in the Arctic somewhere. They just move to hell as far away from people as they can. There's rich people who have bought their own islands just to get away from people. Set themselves up with generators, lots of fuel that gets shipped in, solar power, and they function. And they have satellite, SpaceX, you know, I got one. They get satellite, and they could have internet, everything they want. They can use propane for cooking. They might have somebody come in every month or two to bring in certain supplies. And I tell you what, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You could still have the entertainment that you're used to. You could even see television too. There's a lot of things you could probably do once you have internet, you know. And you could still be kind of part of the modern civilization with internet and entertainment and all that stuff, but you don't have to be barraged by hundreds of thousands of people around you. You could have that peace and tranquility that you want. And when you don't want tranquility and peace, you watch a good old movie on TV that's all kinds of violence and killing and all that stuff, and kind of catch you up on your experience of being on a mainland somewhere, make you feel like home. But there's a lot of people that make these choices. I don't blame them. You got a great quote for me. The anticipation of doing something is better than doing it. Solar is almost not worth it. You know, all that shit, you got your batteries, they're very expensive. And there's a lot of maintenance that goes on with a big solar setup. Only thing I had in Hawaii was just solar water heating. That's all I had. I had a tank, you know. I didn't have solar for the electricity. It's actually pretty expensive to set your house up for solar. And here's the thing about that. For what you pay for it and how long all your equipment's going to last and the maintenance, you're not benefiting every month because if, let's say that you get a system and it's about $10,000, the system, let's use a figure. It would take an awfully long time, Mrs. Heminger, to be able to recoup your 10,000. You back?
Yeah, we've been in Madridejos.
You went to Madridejos?
Yeah. Free. So that's why it's heavy rain.
I never went all the way into Madridejos. I haven't been there yet. You didn't tell me.
I no plan to go there. No. See? Hey.
40,000, how it is now? Oh, is that the pictures? Oh, let me see. Let's see the pictures. How wonderful. So photogenic. Let's see Madridejos. How come I'm not seeing nothing here on the screen? Wait a minute. Hold that up a minute. Why am I seeing nothing on the camera?
Off now, off camera.
Oh, no wonder I hit the off. All right, let's see what you got there. And that's in Madridejos. Okay. Look at that. Lovely, lovely. No, you show that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ah, look at the lovely lips. My God. Let's see. See all of them. Go ahead.
Just for fun.
Ah. The Kota Fort.
Oh. Wala na.
And you had a nice lunch too, huh? I had pork and beans and rice for
Oh,
lunch.
and look at that one fish.
The fish. Look what he got on the fish. My God.
I sent you a photo.
You sent me a photo, you did?
Yeah. See?
Oh, they got that nice little pier you walk on there. I know about the, yeah, it looks all right.
It's very hot. Oh my God.
I bet it was hot.
Hot and rain.
No, hasn't rained here yet, but looks like it's gearing up to
It's very...
some showers
yes.
coming. Your friends there. Yeah. I'm glad you had a good time there.
No plan. Gani, this one we go because Lizel's husband
Who's that?
traveled to Germany, so that's why.
Oh. Look at that face. My God, the face of an angel. All right. My
So this
God.
parehas sa picture niya.
My God. No, that's look like San Diego, huh? Oh, that's in Madridejos, which is another area outside of Bantayan. That's part of the Bantayan Islands, actually.
We plan to go there.
That's actually one of the That's one of the islands out here. Just showing you. Madridejos. There's Santa Fe, then Bantayan, Madridejos. Yeah.
Inside here,
Isn't she beautiful, though?
what do you get?
It was a little thing of ant spray. I thought it was this big gallon thing they were going to send me, but it was this little pump bottle. It smells like peppermint. Yeah. What a fucking waste of money sometimes I do, I'll tell you, really. You can't go buy these ads. I remember I went to order years ago, which I thought was a big dog bed for the dogs, right? It turned out to be a little mat, about 18 inch or 24 inches by 24 inches or something, made for a puppy. I remember them sending me a pair of the wildest looking, psychedelic looking pants you could ever think of, and I never ordered it. So, yeah, you gotta be careful what you order. You don't always get your orders right. I had ordered something, what the hell was it? Don't they sent in there maybe to get more money for the weight or something? I don't know what it was. There was actually a brick. They put a brick in there. I don't know why. They put a brick in there. It was from China. Oh, that's when I ordered the, oh yeah. the gas-powered leaf blower. They had another box with that with a fucking brick in it. A brick. And some broken tile. Oh, they do. It appears like that. Beyond embarrassing in India, in less than 12 hours, they lost at least 3 fighter aircraft. That's expensive. Possibly more. To Pakistan. This is the most aircraft that has been lost by India. And really... I don't even know, to tell you the truth, I don't even know what their conflicts are. I don't really keep track of all that, by choice, mostly. We are war beings, that's who humans are. They're gonna fight over something. I mean, look at the little shits people fight for on YouTube. But some things are not little things. You have to understand that too. I think you know what I'm talking about. But it's not worth it. It's not worth the aggravation. It's not really worth it. Live your life and you die. That's what it is. But in that in-between time of life and death, you experience life, whatever makes you comfortable for you, not what people want for you or think you should be doing or how you should be doing it. You do what works for you. J.D. Vance visited. Seems as you're very political, Mrs. Heminger. Kind of seems that way to me. Anyway, my sweetie's home. I got to spend some time with her. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be able to come on around this lunchtime, after lunch. I need to do some very mild workout with the hand weights. I've been really gung-ho lately on that. I see a difference, but it's very slow. It says 2% power remaining anyway, so this is actually really good timing. So people, look at your life in a different way, man. Stop the bullshit. Go on with your lives. Go on with your family. If you want to create a harem, you create a harem. You do whatever you want to do. As long as it's not hurting anybody else. As long as it's not hurting anybody else. And yeah, Barry's going to get out next week. The High Road Club is coming up with the money, my inside sources said, and he might be on his way back home next week. Next week. The High Roaders. They're coming through for Barry, the High Roaders. Of course, they're not giving him the money. They're giving it to his girlfriend. They don't trust Barry. But I think the boy might be on his way home next week, according to my resources. And it's coming from the High Roaders. They felt so guilty to let him swelter in that place, sweltering place. And they had such a horrible guilt complex that they had to give in. I heard he's going back next week. Could be wrong on this. My information's fairly good. Some insiders that know the High Roaders. I tend to trust my resource, but you never know. But he should be out once he gets the money together and does the proper paperwork. And he should be going back. To what? I don't know. And what is that?
I need to plant things.
I'll get a plant those?
Yeah.
Oh, nice jewelry you're wearing today. Okay, that's my girl. Only the best for you, baby. Only the best. Only because you do. That's what I heard. I got less than a percentage left on here. I could hook up for a couple of minutes, but I got the charger right here. Well, my understanding is that the High Roaders, they felt so embarrassed about the situation. Well, they were trying to go on this campaign of Free Barry J, and it got embarrassing. And because they became very close to his girlfriend, who's now indoctrinated into their club, and they decided that, well, we'll help him out, but we're not going to give it directly to him. $3,500 an ounce? Parker Schnabel must be really happy about that. Yeah, I think it's next week. They get the paperwork going. Yeah. I'm not sure he even knows about it. My resources. $3,500 an ounce. Well, then my girlfriend is definitely rich then. Brevis, no, but it's not Brevis. Brevis wouldn't donate a dime. Cheap bastard he is. Well, don't forget he's a Bitcoin millionaire. He should have all the resources, right? Where did he go? He went to Berkeley. Don't think he graduated though. Well, his father had money, He'd leech off his dad. Hemingway says, Don C. has a hard-on for you, so maybe Don C. Well, as I said, if they're part of the, I'm not going to be very specific, if they're part of that honorable club, that's who it is, coming out of each of their pocket to make this a reality. That's what I say. Free Barry J. Free Barry J. Free Barry J. The sooner the better. Jingle, jingle. Oh, Don C. has had a hard-on for me for a long time. No. So does Popeye. They got the biggest hard-ons. It would have to be Popeye and Don C. Yeah, I think he's pretty sad too. Well, he's supposed to be the successful businessman in the, AI business and whatever, and has his own business at home. He works off his computer. He's still making money, he says. You don't ever hear him talk about his wife. Maybe that's a good thing you don't. Maybe he's smart in one way. But I'm not embarrassed or shameful to show my Philippine family. I'm not, there's nothing to be shamed about. There's nothing I want to hide that I have to hide. There's nothing I need to hide. I got a good-looking gal, Everything else is kind of works out for me out here. Family works out real well. But not everything is what it seems with these people like Don C and all that, because you don't really know what's going on in their life. Health conditions, personal situations going on with their partners or wives. They're not going to tell you. But, well, Big E, though, that's pretty much out there. We know everything that's going on with him. Yeah, he's definitely had clashes with his special people. Yeah. A lot of different things have to do with money and this and that and this and that. Okay, I'll be off this thing in a minute, my dear. So we can spend some little time with you. Since you've been gallivanting all day, living the life.
Oh,
I wouldn't go out in this heat today, you did. Hell no.
if
But you get those girls together.
because if we planning, we can we don't
Well, you
go.
didn't plan it, but it's okay.
Yeah, we don't plan.
Go out and have a good
Yeah.
time, man, yeah.
I surprised. They make me surprised again. They bring me there.
Dawn's wife is a P4P. I don't know what a P4P is.
Huh?
I'm just reading their comments there. P for P. I'm not sure what a P4P is. I don't know.
PHP siguro na.
Let's see, what do I have on screen here? Let me see. So what Big E is talking about, that Frank has a problem with Barry's height. We're always hearing that.
We don't have
Well, it's pretty obvious how tall Barry is. Here's a picture right here, non-edited. I don't do any editing, you know that. Taken by Gilda herself. There you go. Picture speaks. Although they did put on an edited version on there where they kind of switched sizes on me and Barry. Like I said, I wasn't standing any on a platform or nothing. I've met Barry several times. And so did a lot of other people. They know how tall he is, or how tall that he's not. Let's put it that way. Gilda has a pleasant voice, Mrs. Heminger says here. Oh, play for play. Okay. I have no idea about Don C's wife. And quite frankly, I really don't care. I know that he looks well beyond his age, I could tell you that. And he's got some yellow-ass teeth. That I could definitely tell you. Very clearly in this picture how short he is. And I'm not a tall person. But the big ego seemed to make a big thing about that. And he's been wonderful lately. He's been giving me plenty of material that I've been recording. Playing back to him. I got it all up there. Not all of it. But I got things from the past too. So I've been, it's kind of a Barry situation going on. Barry provided me with all this evidence, you know, and Big E's doing the same. And getting his wife involved in this too. I don't know, man. That's treading on dangerous territory. I don't care how much money he has. My dollar is worth the same dollar that his dollar is, or whatever. A dollar is a dollar. It spends the same according to where you are. Dangerous territory. I'll bet you Barry's back to smoking, though. He did say that. If I had to go in there, I'm going to go back to smoking. Oh, well. I guess he figures he's got nothing to lose. Why not? Yeah. Well, you're in that situation. But he'll be out next week, though. He'll be out next week. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're going to finally put out the money to do this for him. Not expect him to pay it back. Nothing like that, because they know they'll never get it back. But the money is being parlayed in the hands of his girlfriend, or soon-to-be ex-girlfriend, whatever. I don't know what you want to call her anymore. Pen pal. There you go. Home sweet home. What he's going to face when he gets back into USA borders, I couldn't tell you that. Might be a little volatile for him. Nobody's taking him in. And I also heard they're throwing in an extra $2,000 in U.S. cash to help him get a little started. But what they still don't understand, and they always try to lead people to believe how intellectual they are, is that Barry has a stockpile of money from his Social Security disability and putting away and just using money for grab and stuff like that. But he's been putting away every month, and he was doing that purposely because he wanted to be able to buy some form of transportation. He's talked about it. He wants to be able to buy some form of transportation when he gets back to Alabama, unless they put him in jail again for different bench warrants and, non-payment of child support and all that stuff. There you go. Free Barry J. Free Barry J. Good evening. I suspect we're going to have more thunder tonight. Is that what I'm hearing? Thunder? Yeah, we got a system that's been all over the Philippines, really. Manila, so forth. Yeah. We've had I don't know, we kind of had a fair share of rain around here this past week. Yeah, it's been happening. It's been happening. Yeah, we've just been working out. We are bulking up, bulking up. Yeah, yeah. Lou Ferrigno here. I don't think so. It's been kind of noticeable. I feel bulky. Yeah. And it's not mammary glands. I mean, it's actually pectoral muscles that coming out a little bit more, and my biceps are a little bit. I think I probably put on a half an inch, not much, but it's better than a kick in the ass. But yeah, they say you can't work out with 20-pound weights, and they laugh about that. But in actuality, it's all you really need. It's just it's just incredible. People laugh, but actually, I wasn't laughing when I seen a little bit of results. Working out with a 15 or 20-pound weight, and they were looking pretty good after a while. It's just continually doing that. Give your muscles a rest. You may want to build scars up, whatever. It just kind of builds upon itself. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, Mick Smith, how will Frisbee get the money to pay you? Would you accept 220K peso as motorbike? No, I will not. And he's already got the money. The High Rotor Club. Yeah, he's leaving on a jet plane, and he'll never be back again. Oh yeah. Well, the High Roaders felt a little guilty. They don't want a bad name, so they better not change their mind on this, because they are going to get a bad name. It's been raised. We're talking about an extraordinary amount of money, approximately 800,000, which covers the court fine, the damages to me, the balance he owes to his lawyer, the immigration fees for almost 7 years, fines, fees, penalties, whatever, and airline. And it's approximately about, I don't know the exact figure, it's approximately about 800. When it's due, that the High Roaders came through for him, and I know they're not going to disappoint him, and they're not giving the money directly to him. They're going to give it to his soon-to-be ex-girlfriend, and that's the way it's working. They don't trust him with the money, and well, I understand that. But the High Roaders have been under a lot of pressure, you got to understand. They've been wanting to say free Barry J, but they don't want to do anything about it, apparently. They've been under a lot of pressure. Yet, so we got a little bit. And I'm kind of winding down for the night anyway. But I think that's how it's working out, and they're basically trying to save face is what it is. And you know who the High Roaders are. Yeah. So they had to save face, so they had to either unilaterally or whatever, or come up with the money, because they got very thick wallets, and they want to see him go home so bad. And they have not helped him. He's been laying in, sweltering prison, and kind of getting a guilt conscious and complex all about that. So he finally, the involved to, he has to make the payments to the court, has to make payments to me and everything else. And when that's satisfied, then they could let him loose. He'll have to pay for his, I believe he has to pay for. He's going to finally get a chance to get home and try to make. They have some warrants out for him in the United States, and they stop him when they reach U.S. territory, which could be a distinct possibility of that happening. So his journey may not be over, But, that's kind of like his problem at this point. The main thing is to get Barry J free, And that was the High Roaders' intention. They ignored him and ignored him. If anything, they were helping his girlfriend and not him. Kind of a sex. And because they would trust her more than they would certainly trust him, and I understand that. Uh, well, they trust her anyway. I didn't say I did, but, you know, so he'll probably next week get a chance to go home and get on an aeroplane, whatever changeovers he has to do, all that stuff. Has it been rubber stamped that he's blacklisted for? Yeah, you understand. Just because he didn't get sentenced to Bickerton, he pleaded guilty to five. It's like five distinct charges. He thought maybe he was pleading to one, but he was pleading to five charges. It's still called a conviction, and it's definite. If you have a conviction, there's no turnaround on that. On top of the immigration issue, it's a definite permanent blacklist from ever entering this country ever again the rest of his life. So that's pretty cool. We don't need him in this country, that's for sure. If you really want somebody out of this country, it would be him, not me. You know, I don't care what he thinks of me or what his girlfriend thinks of me. But if anybody's is really deserving of getting ousted out of this country, it would certainly be him. And for more than one reason. In fact, there's a cotillion of reasons. And henceforth and therefore, there you go. Yeah, well, I'm not going to waste time here because I know you guys are going to probably go to Big Kevin's show. I think he's having a show tonight at 9:05, unless it's for 9:05 tomorrow. So, that's all the news that's fit to print. The high roaders.
Okay. What time?
The high roaders are coming through.
Good night.
Good night, honey butt. Wait a minute, this can get heavy now. And like some fine wine. That she is. That she is. Control yourself, boy. Control yourself. It's bedtime. Old Gramps has no energy for that shit tonight, but tomorrow morning, that's another story. Anyway, with that all being said, say hello to Big Kevin for me, will you? I'm sure he's probably listening to me right now. Hello, Big Kevin. Did you get laid yet, man? Did you get laid yet? Kevin has a story about somebody being robbed and killed at an ATM machine. I never understood that kind of stuff. Rob the person. This world. Good night, folks.